Odysseus has escaped. The Cyclops is blind. His men are alive. The ship is moving. All Odysseus has to do is stay quiet and sail away. Instead, Odysseus turns around and screams his real name across the sea. His full name, his father's name, his title. The Cyclops hears him. Poseidon hears him. A journey home that should take weeks becomes 10 years. This is Odysseus, smart enough to escape danger, proud enough to create more. Why does Greece's cleverest man keep turning victory into punishment? And the bigger question is this: is Odysseus a hero cursed by the gods, or the reason the curse keeps working? The Odyssey does not begin with Odysseus fighting a monster. It begins with Odysseus missing. Troy fell 10 years ago. Ithaca is still waiting. More than 100 suitors occupy Odysseus's palace. They eat his food, drink his wine, and pressure Penelope. This is not romance. This is a hostile takeover with dinner. Penelope fights back with a trick. She weaves a burial shroud by day, then secretly unravels it at night. The trick lasts 3 years. Nobody said villains had to be observant. Meanwhile, Telemachus is no longer the baby Odysseus left behind. He is old enough to inherit a kingdom, but everyone treats him like unfinished furniture. Everyone tells Telemachus to resemble a father he never met. Athena arrives disguised as mentor and tells him to stop waiting. Telemachus orders the suitors to leave. They laugh. The elders do nothing. So Telemachus sails to Pylos and Sparta looking for news. Menelaus gives him one answer: Odysseus is alive. A goddess is keeping him on an island. Telemachus sails home while the suitors prepare an ambush. He left Ithaca as a boy, searching for his father. He returns as a threat. Odysseus is alive. Odysseus is also sitting on a beach and crying. For 7 years, Calypso has kept him on Ogygia. Calypso offers beauty, comfort, immortality, and eternal youth. No war, no monsters, no aging. Odysseus still wants home. He wants Penelope, Telemachus, and a rocky island with terrible farmland. For once, Odysseus chooses the quiet reward. Athena persuades Zeus to intervene. Hermes orders Calypso to release him. Calypso is furious. Male gods collect mortal lovers freely. Olympus finds rules when a goddess does it. Still, she helps Odysseus build a raft. Odysseus sails for 17 days. Then Poseidon sees him. Poseidon remembers that Odysseus blinded his son. Poseidon controls the sea. Odysseus is floating on handmade furniture. The matchup is not ideal. Poseidon destroys the raft. The sea goddess Ino gives Odysseus a magical veil. Odysseus swims for 2 days. He reaches Scheria naked, exhausted, and covered in salt. Princess Nausicaa finds him near a river. Her servants run. Nausicaa stays. Odysseus uses the one weapon the storm could not wash away: language. Nausicaa clothes him and sends him to the palace. The Phaeacians feed him before asking his name. Feed the stranger, and you are civilized. Eat him, and you are probably a Cyclops. At the feast, a bard sings about Troy. Odysseus turns away and cries. No traveler mourns a story like the man trapped inside it. Alcinous asks who he is. Odysseus gives his name, then explains how 12 ships became one man. After Troy, Odysseus sails home with 12 ships. The route should be simple. Unfortunately, victory has made everyone stupid. The Greeks raid the Cicones and take treasure. Odysseus orders the crew to leave. The crew keeps drinking. The Cicones return with reinforcements. Men die on the beach because the party lasted longer than the victory. Then the fleet reaches the Lotus-Eaters. No giant, no prison, no blood, just fruit. The sailors eat and forget Ithaca, family, and home. The sailors are happy. That is what makes the lotus dangerous. A monster destroys the body. The lotus removes the reason to save it. Odysseus drags them back and ties down anyone who resists. Here, Odysseus is exactly the leader they need. He understands that comfort becomes a cage when nobody notices the bars. Then, Odysseus finds a cave. The cave contains sheep, cheese, and no visible owner. The crew suggests taking the supplies and leaving. Fast, safe, boring. Odysseus wants to meet the owner. To Odysseus, Every unknown cave looks like a future story. The owner returns. Polyphemus is enormous, one-eyed, and terrible at hosting. He seals the cave and starts eating sailors. Odysseus cannot kill him yet. A dead giant cannot move the stone, so Odysseus gives Polyphemus powerful wine. The Cyclops asks his name. Odysseus says, "Nobody." Polyphemus falls asleep. The Greeks heat a stake and drive it into the Cyclops' eye. Polyphemus screams. The other Cyclopes call from outside. "Who is attacking you?" "Nobody." "Then why are you screaming?" "Because nobody is killing me." The neighbors leave. Ancient emergency services were not prepared for grammar. At dawn, Odysseus ties the men beneath the sheep. Polyphemus touches wool. The Greeks crawl free. Perfect trick, perfect timing, perfect escape. The ship begins moving away. All Odysseus has to do is stay quiet. Instead, Odysseus screams his real name across the water. His crew begs him to stop, escaping as nobody feels wrong. Odysseus needs to escape as Odysseus. Polyphemus asks Poseidon to send Odysseus home late, alone and broken. Poseidon agrees. Odysseus wins the cave and loses the next 10 years. Aeolus gives Odysseus a bag containing every dangerous wind. One gentle breeze carries them toward Ithaca. For 9 days, everything works. The sailors see fires on the shore. Home is almost close enough to touch. Then Odysseus falls asleep. The crew studies the bag and assumes treasure. They think their captain kept the best share, so they open it. Every storm escapes. The ships fly backward. Ithaca disappears. Crew foolish? Yes. Captain innocent? Not completely. Odysseus loves knowing the plan, not explaining it. His system is simple. Odysseus knows, and everyone else rows. That system works until Odysseus sleeps. Later, the fleet enters a calm harbor surrounded by cliffs. 11 ships sail inside. Odysseus stays near the entrance. For once, paranoia gets promoted. The harbor belongs to Laestrygonian cannibals. Boulders rain from the cliffs. Ships crack. Men drown. 11 vessels disappear. Odysseus cuts his rope and escapes. 12 ships become one. No trick, no speech, no clever reversal. Sometimes the world does not offer a puzzle. Sometimes the world drops a rock on the answer. The last ship reaches Circe's island. Circe welcomes several sailors with food and wine, then turns them into pigs. Bad dinner party. Hermes gives Odysseus a magical herb that blocks her spell. Odysseus forces Circe to restore his men. Mission complete, so naturally Odysseus stays for a year. Danger appears, and Odysseus becomes unstoppable. Comfort appears, and someone has to remind him that Penelope exists. Eventually, Circe sends Odysseus to the land of the dead. Odysseus pours blood into a trench. Ghosts rise. Tiresias gives one warning. Do not touch the cattle of Helios. Not one cow, not one bite. Expensive consequences. Then Odysseus sees his mother. She died waiting for him. Odysseus reaches for her, but his arms pass through. He tries again and holds nothing. Odysseus can trick armies and monsters. Odysseus cannot trick death. Achilles prefers life to glory. Ajax refuses to speak. Agamemnon warns that home can be deadlier than war. Glory sounds different when spoken by corpses. The sirens sing, sailors listen, sailors turn, sailors die. Odysseus puts wax in his crew's ears. Then, Odysseus leaves his own ears open. Of course he does. Odysseus does not want to avoid the sirens. Odysseus wants the premium experience. He orders the crew to tie him to the mast. The song begins. Odysseus screams and orders everyone to release him. The crew hears nothing and keeps rowing. Odysseus survives. This is not self-control. Odysseus made everyone else control Odysseus. Same ego, better rope. Then the ship reaches Scylla and Charybdis. Charybdis can swallow the ship. Scylla will take 6 sailors. Odysseus calculates. Lose 6, save the rest. The math is correct. The math is also people. Odysseus does not warn them. Scylla strikes. 6 men rise screaming from the deck. A foolish leader can kill by accident. A brilliant leader can kill efficiently. The survivors reach Helios's island. Circe warned them. Tiresias warned them. Odysseus repeats it. Do not eat the cows. A storm traps the crew. Days become weeks. Food disappears. Hunger takes command. While Odysseus sleeps, the men slaughter the sacred cattle. Helios complains to Zeus. Zeus sends lightning. The final ship breaks. Every sailor dies. Odysseus survives on wreckage. He left Troy commanding 12 ships. Now Odysseus commands a plank. Charybdis drags him back. Odysseus clings to a tree until the wreckage returns. The sea carries him to Calypso. 7 years later, Odysseus tells the Phaeacians how everyone died. No fleet, no crew, only the storyteller. Alcinous gives him a ship. The Phaeacians carry him home while he sleeps. Odysseus wakes on Ithaca. Odysseus does not recognize the shore. Athena explains that suitors occupy his palace and want Telemachus dead. Athena turns Odysseus into an old beggar. Naturally, the king returns home wearing a lie. Odysseus hides with Eumaeus, a loyal swineherd. Telemachus returns after escaping an ambush. He enters the hut and sees a stranger. Athena removes the disguise. Odysseus stands before the baby he left behind, now grown. Telemachus thinks he is seeing a god. Odysseus says, "I am your father." Telemachus grew up hearing stories about Odysseus. Now the story is crying before him. Odysseus returns to a child who no longer exists. Telemachus grew up beneath his father's shadow. They have one night to become family. Then they plan a massacre. Odysseus enters the palace as a beggar. The suitors mock him because power should look expensive. Some servants insult him. Loyal servants feed him. His old dog, Argos, recognizes him. Argos lifts his head, moves his tail once, and dies. A dog sees through the disguise before Ithaca does. Odysseus hides his tears. Later, the nurse Eurycleia washes his feet. Her hand touches an old scar. She knows. Names can lie, clothes can lie, stories can lie. The body keeps receipts. Odysseus orders her to stay silent. Then Odysseus speaks with Penelope. He lies to his wife inside his own house. He tells her Odysseus is alive and near. Penelope wants to believe him. She has survived too many stories. So Penelope creates a test. Penelope brings out the bow. She will marry whoever strings it, and shoots through 12 axe heads. The suitors pull, sweat, curse, and fail. Then the beggar asks for a turn. The room laughs. Odysseus checks the bow like an old instrument. He strings it in one smooth movement. The bow sings. The arrow passes through all 12 axe heads. The hall goes silent. Telemachus closes the doors. Odysseus shoots Antinous through the throat. Wine falls. Blood follows. Then another arrow. Then another. This is not a contest anymore. The suitors are trapped. Telemachus controls the weapons. Odysseus controls the room. In Homer's world, this is justice. Justice arrives with a lot of blood. When the hall becomes silent, every suitor is dead. The palace is Odysseus's again. The floor looks like Troy. He once hid soldiers inside a horse. Now he hides a king inside a beggar. Same brain, different horse. Penelope does not run into his arms. Odysseus says he is her husband. Penelope orders their marriage bed moved. Odysseus reacts immediately. The bed cannot move. Odysseus built it around a living olive tree. Moving it means cutting through the roots. Only Odysseus knows this. That is how Penelope recognizes him, not from his face, bow, or another impressive speech. Penelope recognizes a private truth. For 20 years, Odysseus survives by controlling stories. He becomes nobody, hides plans, and returns wearing another face. But Penelope does not need another story. Penelope needs something real: a bed, a tree, and a memory. Home is the one place where cleverness is not enough. Odysseus visits his father, Laertes. Even now, Odysseus begins with another false story. Apparently, family reunions also require strategy. Then, Odysseus reveals the scar. Father and son embrace. 3 generations stand together. Then, the suitors' families arrive. They want revenge. Odysseus prepares for another fight. Every victory in this story tries to become another war. Laertes kills the father of Antinous. More blood is coming. Then Athena intervenes, with one command: enough. Athena forces peace between Odysseus and Ithaca. The Odyssey does not end because Odysseus wins. It ends because someone stronger orders him to stop. So what is Odysseus? Hero, liar, survivor, genius, a disaster with excellent vocabulary? The answer is yes. Odysseus saves his men. Odysseus endangers his men. Odysseus refuses immortality for Penelope. He still spends years getting distracted on the way home. He is brave enough to face monsters. He is proud enough to create new ones. Poseidon hates him. The gods interfere. His crew treats warnings like side quests. But one pattern keeps returning. One more secret. One more risk. One more song. One more speech. One more chance to prove Odysseus is different. Clever people love asking, "Can I do it?" The Odyssey asks what they hate. Should I? Odysseus defeats Troy, a Cyclops, witches, sirens, storms, and a palace of enemies. But Odysseus never defeats the voice saying, "Make sure they know it was you." Maybe that is the real monster. Not Polyphemus, not Scylla, not Charybdis. The real monster turns every escape into a performance. The monsters test his strength. The journey tests his appetite for applause. Odysseus does not just want to survive the story. Odysseus wants to own it. Sometimes the smartest move is not another trick. Sometimes the smartest move is to stop, stay quiet, and sail home.